Disclaimer: this show is not for the faint of heart or the easily offended. The views expressed here are that of the show hosts only, and not their wives, girlfriends, husbands, boyfriends, polygamous partners, employers, music artists, businesses, or anyone other than the Cognitive Dissolutions podcasters. The explicit tag is there for a good reason. Please proceed with caution.
Every one of us will have to decide whether or not we want to keep this great republic or whether we're willing to sacrifice it and surrender it to tyranny.
Okay, we are retarding.
Sweet.
Here we go.
Special bus time.
Okay, now let's not start off being insensitive pricks here.
Snozberries taste like snozberries.
You know, it's funny because my wife is a bus driver, so she hates it when I say that shit.
Is she like the bus driver on South Park? I'm just kidding.
No.
That was me. I don't know why I said that. Again, I've said this on the podcast before. I've never met Al's wife. I'm sure she's a lovely person. So please don't take offense.
The wheels on the Joel go round
and then round.
I think they're going to go right over me. Thump, thump.
No, my wife's a Italian-Norwegian mix, so, I mean, her, from dad's side off the boat, grandma's side off the boat.
Would that be Nortalian?
So I really don't know what that makes her other than a really bad fisherman.
Okay, so just... Hey,
I decommissioned your mom! Oh!
Glad you're still with us, Joel.
I've got them lined up, and, John has them lined up, so we can fail at that like we do everything else.
I didn't look at them very closely.
He's just fucking random linking again.
So,
Al, tiny URL his ass.
Oh
no.
Oh, someone's going to get some male porn.
I just won't open it.
And just to be clear, that's M-A-L-E, not M-A-I-L.
So I don't know if you heard that episode or not, Kenny, so just a little background. If for whatever reason you receive a tiny URL from me, it actually says tiny URL, 9 times out of 10, I'm sending you some gay porn links or something just to fuck with you. Don't open them. Just delete them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Fucked me up. It really did.
He gets that from the Army. That's a really, really old fucking stupid internet thing that Army guys have been doing each other since the 90s. So.
Well, I know that, how in every cheesy movie where there was a rape scene before and she ends up in the bathtub holding herself and crying and blood draining into the bathtub. Well, that's kind of how I ended up after I saw that because I was vomiting.
Well, don't masturbate with a cactus then. You'll be fine. Jesus.
I don't even get that reference.
You're masturbating cacti now?
You've never told somebody to go fuck themselves with a cactus?
Cactibration? I can't do it. It doesn't work.
Well, no, I thought you were suggesting that he was using his hand to jack off a cactus.
I was insinuating that he was ramming it up his ass, but, hey, picture what you will.
Whatever works, I guess.
I think it has
Hey guys, I'm thorny.
Podcast is not
Oh, me so thorny.
Sounds like cacti have a dual purpose.
Oh, I'm so glad we're recording right now.
Yeah, I know. Let's just ride this homophobic wave.
Alrighty.
I could see a lot of this is going to make the cut, right?
Probably. Unfortunately, I'm going to regret most of it. As per usual.
We always usually do.
Ratings.
Oh. All right, here we go.
Just to be clear, that Craigslist ad was about getting a bass player. Nothing weird.
That's what she said.
Well, isn't that what we do on Craigslist? We search for musicians. That's all I do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly.
Is that what Craigslist is for?
Yeah,
Yes.
I always kind of looked for women on it and just ended up with trannies most of the time. But hey, you got to roll with what you get, right?
Well, you got to stay out of the auto parts section.
So
Is that what they meant by a long rod?
Oh, I agree with Joel that the excitement comes from the fact that our technology and human intelligence is evolving to a point where we can finally see these things that are already out there. Now, what is the next step? What are we going to do with this knowledge?
See, and
Aliens.
making some effort at trying to visit with them, trying to go there, trying to do something with the knowledge. The knowledge does nothing if you don't do something with it.
We're not, you won't get there in one person's lifetime. So you've got an ecosystem that travels there over, who knows how long, and that just the offspring of the offspring are the ones that sort of reap the
even
benefit.
that concept has always kind of thrown me. And here's why. The ecosystem idea. I mean, you've got 7 billion people on this planet, and half of them don't want to fuck the other half. So you've got to convince a bunch of people to get on this fucking spacecraft and go, oh, and by the way, you're going to fuck each other. You're going to breed, and those kids have to breed with each other.
They don't have to breed through sexual means.
Well, even so, could you imagine, right now you have mothers and fathers not willing to accept the responsibility of their own kids on this planet through in vitro fertilization. You really think that's going to work on a spacecraft?
Let me ask you guys this question. So, what about the moral implication of that? So, you were essentially we're mandating to generations that have yet to be born that this is what they're going to do with their lives. You're stuck on this fucking spaceship. So,
that's the thing. Those children would never know any different. That would be their universe.
Yeah. Well, it'd be like parents moving to another country. It's not. It's similar. Obviously, much more extreme because you can't go back. But I don't know. Obviously, I think that the more likely. Seems crazy to think this, but I actually, for some reason, I do. Of those two scenarios, I think the more likely would be us finding again some kind of warp technology, or creating wormholes and that kind of stuff.
Well, see, the main reason I raise my objection is because here we are 50 years after going to the moon with basically extremely inferior technology considering what we have now.
Less than a cell phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, not just less than a cell phone, less than a fucking calculator.
Yeah.
TI-80.
So, if we were able to go to the moon then, and we were, technologically capable of going to Mars the following decade in the 70s, why are we here now almost 50 years after that and not even trying? Do we really even have any business doing the science that we're doing if we're not willing to explore even our own little neck of the woods?
Absolutely we do.
Some of these things are just too big for the little guy or the little girl to do on their own. It takes much more resources, and so there has to be some, and I hate to admit this, some money involved to help the process move along. And that's where grants come in. And, so there are times where the people receiving the grants are somewhat beholden to the grant issuer. But these things are bigger. These are very big. Traveling through the solar system, it's huge stuff. It's not like one person could do that, or I mean, they could stumble accidentally upon something that we could use. Then it has to be developed, and that takes even more resources.
Man, you guys really have drank the Kool-Aid, haven't you? I mean, listen to yourselves. You're giving corporations and governments basically carte blanche to take over human progress.
No, I never said that.
No, hear me out on this. Turn the clock back 100 years. Look at the Wright brothers. Look at Edison. Yeah, Edison became wealthy, but when he first started out, he was nobody. Nikola Tesla, the guy who invented our modern world, was a nobody. These people were not corporations to begin with. They built themselves up to that. But at this point, our technology, our progress has been pretty much either, I mean, you can use the word stalled or halted, whatever you want to call it, by these huge interests that are honestly, in my opinion, and based on my observations, more interested in themselves than they are in human progress.
You can imagine things as big as you want. To build them is another separate issue, because you got to pull the resources somehow, and not to be beholden to the giver of the gift. There has to be some clause which removes the strings, saying, well, we're going to give this money with good faith that we are doing this purely for science.
Just like everything, I mean, how many times have we talked about different topics on this podcast where we just, it's predictable, the pendulum effect.
Well, of course we do, because Al's a racist.
God.
New Orleans joke.
It all comes together like a little bow tie.